Welcome to Bonnie Doon, and this episode is Gun Control for Teenagers. The first lesson is that your guns will be taken away a little at a time.
I'm not calling for some outright ban. I'm talking about small steps that can be taken that can be effective.
And it is in this manner in which something must be done, anything, small steps, that your gun rights will be eroded away.
Do something.
Sometimes the answer is to do nothing. And the person that always says, do something, do something, do something, is the person that's going to screw it all up.
Guns are misused by three types of people usually. First, common criminals, the bank robber, the mugger. There is no law that will stop them because they're already breaking the law.
When you ban guns, only criminals will have guns.
Secondly, there are terrorists. Likewise, they don't care what laws you bring. They will access weapons illegally. And if they don't access weapons, they'll create them. Look what happened in the UK. Look what happened in Germany. Vehicles being used to kill scores of people in one attack. Or look at Boston. A pressure cooker created, turned into an improvised explosive device.
Guns are used to kill because they are the most efficient means. So if you take away the guns, the next efficient means will be used. Knives. And I believe back in the 1990s, the number one thing that was used to kill in New York City was hands and feet.
The last category are the mentally unstable. It is already illegal for somebody, such as the recent killer, to acquire a weapon if you have psychiatric problems. However, current laws are not being properly implemented, and in many cases, the consequences of the left-wing decisions of the 1970s that makes adjudicating an American citizen mentally incompetent almost impossible, and likewise, it very, very difficult to institutionalize somebody against their will, means that these kinds of tragedies will happen again and again and again until we take mental health seriously.
So, my little teenagers, one of these crazy people does something wrong, and you want to take my rights away from me. The crazy guy does something wrong, so therefore take everybody's guns away. Doesn't make any sense at all.
The Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution has nothing to do with hunting whitetails. It has nothing to do with personal protection from criminal violence. It exists because of dictatorship. It exists because of unrepresentative government. Whether it's King George 2+ centuries ago, or whether it's a modern dictator, a fascist, or a communist.
Admiral Yamamoto counseled Japanese Emperor Hirohito not to attack America because he had been there, and he warned him that in America there is a rifle behind every blade of grass, and this is our great deterrent to the rest of the world. No one wants to attack us because we're armed to the teeth.
It is no accident that the deadliest dictators in history, be it Hitler, be it Stalin, be it Mao, the first thing they did was to disarm their populace. Why? Because a disarmed populace is not made up of citizens. It is made up of subjects, of prisoners.
There is only one way to overthrow an oppressive government, and that's to be armed.
America is the greatest nation on God's earth, in part because it was created on the basis of individual liberty and freedom.
We are one of the few countries that are actually given the right by God to be armed, to buy firearms, and to keep and bear arms.
Inanimate objects aren't evil. Men and women can use inanimate objects to do evil. But guns are your last protection against those who wish to take your rights away from you.
And after all this, if you don't believe me, let's let Steven Crowder from his show, Louder with Crowder, run it down very quickly in less than a minute exactly what needs to be said.
Set your timer. Let's go. Assault weapons are not an actual thing. Mass shootings are on the decline. The United States does not actually have the most mass shootings in the world. All pistols are some form of semi-automatic. An AR-15 is actually not a military weapon. States with the United States stricter gun control laws have not statistically reduced crime. Gun control measures at large have actually proven to be not effective in reducing violent crime. The United States, by the way, does not have the highest violent crime rate in the industrialized world. Most of the statistical gun deaths that you actually read about include suicides. That's something I didn't tell you. Guns save millions more lives than they ever take, according to the FBI, anywhere from 200,000 to 3 million. Plus, by the way, none of this matters because the Second Amendment ensures your right to self-preservation, period, including firearms, period. And yes, that extends beyond muskets to high-capacity guns that were around back then, like the Belt and Flintlock, the buckle gun, the pepperbox revolver. And by the way, you're an asshole for exploiting this senseless tragedy to try and forcibly strip us of our human rights regardless. Okay, on with the show. Does that about cover it?
I think that's about
you
it.
pieces of human shit.
So that about covers it. You have a God-given right to keep and bear arms. No one has the right to take this away from you. You should fight tooth and nail any infringement on those rights. Don't give anything up. Don't give an inch. Do not allow the actions of some insane person to be used against you because, oh, it feels good at the moment to do this. And this is the guy you should be afraid of. Anybody who says this, especially Kasich, listen to him closely. And when you hear this, the red flag should go up and you should say no.
Do something.
This has been Donnie Boone. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. And please join the NRA and defend your gun rights. They're the most important rights you have.